One of the competitors that viewers have grown familiar with from season 23 of American Idol is Slater. Nally recently honored a country icon on the program. Nally is one of the many candidates that entered the competition with season 23, but viewers recently acknowledged that they were taken aback by something in her performance. During the Hollywood round, Nally performed an original song, Foolish Pride. Throughout the season, he has performed songs like Over the Rainbow, from The Wizard of Oz, Your Song, by Elton John, and Angel from Montgomery, by John Prine. In a recent episode, Nally paid homage to the Queen of Country herself with Whoever's in New England, by Reba McEntire. His audition performance of Traces of You made his first significant impression on the judges, and the video went viral. He was accompanied by his high school teacher, who served as his inspiration. "I would have never pegged you to attempt that song," said Judge Luke Bryan, who expressed particular gratitude for the choice. "You can have a lengthy career if you can keep your followers guessing." It was a smart choice to choose that song, but fans have recently voiced the disapproval of the musical accompaniment, which is another aspect of Nally's performance. "Weird thing music geeks like me probably only noticed," a fan commented on social media. For the tune, why in the world would Slater choose a nylon string guitar? In contrast to the sound of a typical acoustic guitar, the fan went on, that song has such an odd sound to it. Especially because he and the guitar were the only instruments used for the whole performance. Throughout the entire song, he used a pick, which makes nylon strings seem silly. It kind of destroyed it for me and makes no sense at all. Some fans had mixed feelings about the concept. Although others thought the nylon strings might be used well, Nally's performance still didn't suit well with them. As one fan pointed out, "I mean, in the correct situations, a nylon string may sound wonderful with a pick, see John McLaughlin, but yes, it was not the right context and I guess it was a touch out of tune maybe." Similar feelings were expressed by some supporters, even those who supported Nally. However, some fans thought Nally did an excellent job and even offered other justifications for why some individuals were surprised by the nylon strings. Among the remarks were, "I think it sounded fantastic, but I get what you're saying. I often think the same way when I hear something new or unfamiliar. I agree. Although he is my favorite, it was dangerous to play the guitar alone without any support, and this tune didn't work well with nylon strings. It was really distracting. I generally agree with your assessment. However, I noted that tonight's mix was generally odd, and I believe it was a major contributing factor. I told Gabby to crank up the microphone when she began to sing. Quote, "It sounds like a toy. Everything, even the heartbreaking stories, the soaring voices, and occasionally the difficult choices, are amplified by the brilliant lights of the American Idol stage. This season, one competitor in particular, the affable and unquestionably gifted Slater, has generated a lot of internet debate, not because of his vocal prowess but rather because of an odd and surprising decision that has left fans baffled and guessing. Slater, a 22-year-old singer-songwriter from a small Midwest town, had grown to be a fan favorite. The incident, which happened during the live results show, was subtle enough to be missed by casual viewers, but for the devoted fanbase, the keen observers who analyze every frame and every word, it was a moment that defied explanation and ignited a firestorm of confusion. Audiences have responded favorably to his unvarnished, emotive performances as well as his modest and sincere manner. In addition to having a fantastic voice, he also had a gripping backstory and an indisputable connection with viewers at home, which is a unique trait that makes a competitor on Idol genuinely exceptional. He had won accolades from the judges and cemented his place as a leading candidate by performing strong covers of both original songs and timeless favorites week after week. According to all reports, he was headed straight for the finals and was an unstoppable force in the tournament. The odd maneuver in question happened in the anxious minutes before it was announced who would advance to the following round. As host Ryan Seacrest, with his trademark dramatic pause, was ready to announce the results of the national vote, the remaining competitors were gathered on stage with a noticeable sense of nervousness hovering over them. The hopeful vocalists' anxious and excited faces were captured on camera as they panned across them. Then it happened. Slater did something completely unexpected when the camera was focused on him for a little period, maybe just a second or two. He didn't look at another competitor reassuringly or squirm uneasily. Rather, he made a little, nearly undetectable motion to reach into his pants pocket and took out a single, dazzling red apple. The incident was so out of place, so absolutely random in the context of the high-stakes elimination, that it immediately registered as terribly weird to those who were paying careful attention. He then took a small, deliberate bite out of it while keeping his face perfectly blank. Why an apple? Why at that exact moment? Why was there absolutely no feeling at all when performing it? A non sequitur in the show's well-planned plot, the move appeared to defy logic. The internet response was immediate and powerful. Social media sites were overflowing with queries, hypotheses, and opinions. Has anybody else noticed that? Just now, Slater had an apple. One fan tweeted, clearly perplexed. What was the purpose of that? Is he attempting to communicate? Another wondered. As admirers tried to figure out what the strange behavior meant, the hashtag #SlaterApplegate soon gained popularity. Early speculations varied from the commonplace to the outrageous. Some said he chose to steal a snack because he was just hungry. Others hypothesized that it was a nervous tic, an odd coping mechanism for the stress. More imaginative explanations surfaced, speculating that it was a secret message to an audience member, an odd good luck charm, or even a protest against the structure of the presentation. Because of the act's utter unpredictability, there were many possible interpretations, each more creative than the last. The mystery was further compounded by the fact that Slater maintained his poker face the whole time. He didn't wink or grin, and there was no sign that he understood the odd image he was giving. He calmly took a piece, chewed it gently, and put the apple back in his pocket, looking as calm as though he had been standing there doing nothing. The episode swiftly moved beyond ordinary confusion and into the realm of internet meme culture. This lack of response was nearly as confusing as the act itself, indicating a degree of detachment or maybe a well-planned performance. Social media was inundated with screenshots of Slater holding the apple, along with amusing commentary and in-depth backstories. Unexpectedly, the judges didn't bring up the incident during the program. He became the target of innumerable jokes and parodies, and his peculiar apple-eating moment got ingrained in the history of American Idol oddities. They may have overlooked the subtle act or decided to ignore it in order to keep the broadcast moving forward, concentrating instead on the performances and the outcomes. Ever the professional, Ryan Seacrest proceeded with the eliminations without skipping a beat, apparently unaware of the internet hysteria that was breaking out. The mystery was only made more intense by the show's lack of recognition. It was as if viewers were privy to a plot point, a malfunction in reality TV's matrix, that the show's creators either failed to notice or purposefully ignored. The episode became even more captivating for the devoted fan base as a result of this additional layer of intrigue. Days stretched into a week, and the mystery surrounding the apple became the main topic of online debates about the program. In anticipation of the upcoming episode, fans waited impatiently for an explanation, a tidbit of information, a subtle clue, or anything else that might clarify Slater's peculiar actions. Would he answer it? Would the judges? Would it just be forgotten, a strange anomaly in a season that would otherwise be normal? There was a noticeable sense of eagerness for the upcoming episode. As usual, the attention was on the live performances, but the audience, thoughts were always focused on the elephant in the room, or rather, the apple in the pocket. A feeling of dissatisfaction started to set in as the presentation went on and the event was not brought up. Fans were left to deal with their unresolved questions as it appeared like the program was set on moving on. Nevertheless, a glimmer of optimism appeared during that week's results presentation. The camera moved to Slater for a moment as the competitors were once again assembled on stage, anticipating the announcement of their fate. Once more, there was a little motion, a hand reaching inside his pocket. This time, however, he took out a little, peeled banana in place of an apple. Instead of eating it, he only held it in his palm for a brief moment before putting it back in his pocket. This new information sparked a new round of conjecture among the internet community. A banana. Was the odd behavior connected to eating continuing here? Was the message fresh? Was it an intentional attempt to mock the audience, recognizing their perplexity from the week before? Though less spectacular than the apple incident, the banana event confirmed that Slater's acts were not random but rather part of a purposeful pattern, albeit one whose significance was still incredibly unclear. Theories on the food choices got even more complex. He was rumored to be navigating the vegetable section. Others said that the fruit variety had symbolic value, a secret language that only a few people could understand. The mystery of the apple and the banana became an intriguing case study of internet collective intelligence and the power of shared confusion because of the situation's sheer absurdity, which spurred the online community's creativity. The judges of American Idol, who may have finally realized the magnitude of the online buzz, started to subtly address the situation. At a review of Slater's performance, Lionel Richie, with a gleam in his eye, said, "Slater, your performance was so good, it was fruitful." The remark, though seemingly unrelated, was obviously a reference to the ongoing mystery surrounding food, and it caused the audience to chuckle. The judges' subtle acknowledgments, which did not offer a direct explanation, at least demonstrated that the show was aware of the online discussion. Katy Perry, who is known for her quirky sense of humor, also joined in, making a light-hearted comment about the significance of getting your daily serving of fruits and vegetables. As the tournament went on, the food-related occurrences persisted, albeit less often. It seemed like a wink and a bow to the devoted fans who had been analyzing every moment, a shared knowledge of the strange subplot that had evolved. We caught a glimpse of him with a single orange slice, a little bag of grapes, and once even a tiny carton of milk. Every fresh incident of food making an appearance on stage, no matter how short, stoked internet rumors and added to the mystery. The question still stood: what did it all mean? Was it a self-planned PR stunt, a shrewd strategy to attract attention and make a statement? Was it a kind of creative expression, a subliminal critique of reality TV's artificiality? Was it just a young man coping in an odd and unusual way with the tremendous strain of the competition? Slater's efforts were nonetheless impressive in spite of the mystery that still surrounds him. He demonstrated that his talent went much beyond his odd stage antics by continuously delivering strong vocals and moving interpretations. Even if the food events were unclear, they didn't take away from his ability to use music to engage the crowd. As the season came to a close, the pressure increased and the food-related events seemed to lessen. In fact, for some admirers, the mystery provided an additional dimension of interest to his demeanor, making him even more intriguing to watch. Maybe even Slater's unusual actions were overshadowed by the competition's focused attention. Or maybe the message, whatever it was, had been conveyed. Despite the fierce competition, Slater managed to place in the top 3. A last chance for an answer presented itself during the season finale. His experience on American Idol was a rollercoaster of dramatic performances, personal anecdotes, and, of course, the ongoing mystery of the apple and the other food items. Ryan Seacrest finally addressed the elephant in the room with a knowing smirk during the interviews with the top 3 competitors before to the announcement of the final results. "Can you explain the apple, the banana, and the other food items?" The crowd held their breath, anticipating the long-awaited explanation. "Slater," he said, "there's been a lot of talk online about your interesting choices of accessories on stage." Slater eventually spoke up on the subject, blushing a little. He did not present a sophisticated coded message or a meaningful artistic statement. The audience erupted in a mixture of laughter and understanding as he explained, "Honestly, Ryan," he said, a nervous laugh escaping his lips, "it started with the apple. I get really anxious before the results are announced, and someone backstage offered me an apple to help calm my nerves. It actually worked, kind of. So, the next week, I just brought a banana. And then it just became this weird habit. It wasn't some grand plan or anything. I just found it oddly comforting." This surprisingly common answer dispelled the complex theories, the secret signals, and the artistic declarations. It wasn't a profoundly meaningful gesture or a well-planned show. It was just a nervous habit, a peculiar way of dealing that had grown out of the extreme stress of live television. In its own sense, the answer was a fitting end to the strange story of Slater and the food, even though it might not have been as dramatic or profound as some fans had imagined. It brought attention to the competition's human component and the peculiar and frequently erratic ways people deal with stress and anxiety. The fact that often the most complex puzzles have the simplest answers was also a reminder. Slater may not have won American Idol, but his experience on the program was definitely unforgettable. In addition to his strong voice and moving performances, he made a lasting impact with his peculiar and completely perplexing action that provoked a national discussion. Dreams are made and broken on the American Idol stage, but for one season, a young man under pressure found comfort in the simple act of eating an apple, leaving a horde of fans completely perplexed and permanently inscribing his name in the show's oddball history. The apple's riddle may be resolved, but for years to come, the picture of Slater standing on the Idol stage and biting into a brilliant red apple during a high-stakes elimination will probably be a clear and confusing memory.